Mic test.
Mike test.
That's Mike.
Yes.
Well, we've been blessed thus far.
Amen.
Our conversations have been very wholesome. This whole concept of generational leadership is not new, but it was actually projected by God. Back when he talked to, it was his intention with Adam and Eve actually, and then they gave in to the temple. But when he raised up Abraham, he put his generational plan that is new. The fact that many times we stumble upon it probably has more to do with our need to do our own thing, and not having the thing that God really shaped that thing to the point where we have to actually face the reality that oftentimes we like the idea of being called bishop, even though we don't necessarily buy into doing what the bishop's charge is. We don't necessarily buy into operating in the fullness of being a bishop. We just want to wear a title. And the we is a general we, as opposed to talking about those of you that's in this room, although some may fit that. Setting one time where we were talking to some politicians, elected officials, and we were talking to them about something we wanted done, we felt the community needed. And, we were to the point and charged them to get the job done. But later on, we just overheard a conversation. The conversation went like this. One of the legislators told the other legislator, this is going to be very expensive to get done. It's going to be difficult to get support for what they want done. And they don't represent a large enough voting bloc to cause us to have to do it. And the only thing they can do is take some action on the street that affects the finances of a commercial flow, and thereby causing us to have to do it even though we're doing it under duress. So instead, let's work toward getting it done so that we look like we're getting the job done. Everybody should be sweating, we should have our sleeves rolled up, working at getting it done. But we really are just making certain that we look like it. We're going to invite them in to see us working hard. We're going to do the photo ops. And at the end of the day, they go back happy that they were able to motivate us to get moving on their concern. And at the same time, once they're gone, we can get back to doing what we do as business as usual. So their focus was to make it look like. And I'm afraid that that's really the way our government works now. They're busy with making something look like as opposed to making something real.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time talking politics. Even when you're not talking politics, you're talking politics. Because ultimately, as long as the purse string is being held by a few, and then they're controlled by even yet a smaller few, then everything else deals with politics. Politics is not always about elections and putting people in office. Oftentimes, and this is really where it resides, it's about being able to move resources from point A to point B to benefit the people at point A first. And then if there's any residual, then point B people can get it. But we want to move it from A to B, and the people at A gets paid. People at B, we tell them they're getting services. We tell them they're getting help. Ultimately, let's make sure our people at A, who have taken control of the resources, get paid. And then when it gets to B, people at B applaud them for bringing over a new program. Thank you for this new program. The fact is that the people in A that we move the resources from are also the ones building the program. So they get paid for the resources, and they get paid for constructing it, and then they get paid for resourcing it to people. So ultimately, folk on this end of the receiving end, they really got nothing but a facade. Or they got a poor representation of what their original concern was. Many folk don't know this, but most of us have read or studied about the Montgomery bus boycott, right?
Correct.
Right. For those of you that may not know about this from other countries, and hopefully you do, but if you don't, it's where some people got tired of having to go to the back of the bus. So they waged just about a year's campaign where nobody was going to ride the bus. And they walked, and thumb rides, and whatever it had to do, they would not ride the bus to finally the bus folk appeared to cave in. And in appearing to cave in, everybody celebrated victory, etc. And so history shows that, and of course, if the people who were doing the boycotting wrote the history, it would be written differently. But the people who write the history are the ones who get a chance to say what happens and make it sound real. Anyway, but many people don't know that the bus boycott strategy was developed in a little town called Baton Rouge,
Correct.
where it was successfully carried out about half of the time it took for the other ones. And it was done very methodical. There were some pastors over there who were committed to the charge. And they got it done. Jemison, old man Jemison, well, that probably doesn't mean a lot, but it was Jemison before the last Jemison and before Jackson. In the convention, they pushed the buttons. People would not ride the bus. And they did not go in as we tried to do in Montgomery. In Montgomery, they were always looking for a way to compromise. They didn't do that in Baton Rouge. There was no compromise. And they also were not nonviolent. In Baton Rouge, I don't know what's wrong with people in Baton Rouge. They got serious people. They weren't nonviolent. And their position was that not only will we not ride the buses, but there are some people that we know very well that will bust all your windows out and put sugar in the tanks, and this stuff. Yeah. And so are you threatening us? No, we would never do that ourselves. So that was kind of what the position was informally. So once it was done and they got what they wanted, they got people hired, new jobs were set up, that was considered a victory. So when the guys over in Alabama put their test case out, because Rosa Parks was about the third test case. It was not the first test case. But by the time they got to the test case, and they started to take the action, they immediately went into the mode of looking for a way to compromise. And it took a lot of work on the parts of people like Shuttlesworth and some of the others to keep the leader from sitting at the table and agreeing to something less than what they originally talked about doing. This is not to put a negative tint on history about people. It's just to say that the bus boycott gets played up as being a big victory, but catch this. No people who were of African descent owned any buses. Nor did they get an opportunity to own any buses or own any stock in the companies that own the buses. Two, there was not an increase percentage-wise that would reflect the way the city was made up in the number of people who were now either management or upper management or even as far as the bus driver's supervision. They just had some people on there driving the bus, but most of them didn't look like the folk they were driving. And the only concession they really got was that you could sit anywhere you want to sit if you can get on and there's a seat available. So they counted that as a victory because the people writing history is trying to give the best spin on it. The reality, however, is that the victory would have been if the people involved had negotiated a buyout of the bus company, and the bus company hands would have either transferred to these individuals or the people involved would have said, okay, you don't want to do a buyout or transfer, fine. We, in turn, will get capitalized through somewhere, and we're going to start our own bus company. That didn't happen in either Baton Rouge or Montgomery. So in both instances, what is considered a victory is told to us it was a victory by the people who write the history. But those who were up close and personal knew it wasn't a real victory. It only looked like a victory. So once again, it's in the business of making things look a certain way. So when you deal with generational leadership, you can talk the game and actually look like you're doing it. All right? You can look like you're doing it. You can talk it. You can make all the right moves in it, and make people think, the ones who are involved, you can make them think they're really making a difference. And then those who are watching, you can make them think that you're really making a difference. But at the end of the day, the next generation has to start at zero. So the idea behind the concept of generational leadership could be as simple as taking this ladder So if this is the floor or the ground, the idea is each generation should ensure that the next generation doesn't have to start here. Amen. That's the idea. So we should do things like better how we invest financially, better how we do our health, so that we eat better and exercise better and rest better, so that the next generation doesn't start here, and then that generation who didn't start here might start here, but their job is to make sure that the next generation doesn't start here, and instead they can start here. And then this generation now, who is at least 2 steps above, should now start looking to even not just move to the next, but they should be looking at not only 3 and 4, but maybe looking at 5, and then 7, and then 8, and then 10. That's where it should be. So when we talk about generational leadership, we're really talking about, 1, raising up this floor so that nobody starts from 0 again, and focusing on what is it going to look like when it gets to 10, which is 10 generations away. Now, will we all be there? Well, no, we won't be there in the flesh, but Abraham never saw in the physical what God promised him. Right. Now, one time, you don't ever hear about Abraham being able to cross over into Canaan with the children of Israel. You don't hear about him being able to see Obama get elected. They didn't see that in the material. But just because he didn't see it did not mean that the steps had not been laid and that God did not keep his promise. Now, there are people in Israel right now who claim to be the heirs of Abraham and that they're there by God's will and God's intent. When in reality, they're there because at the end of the World War, they were able to get the powers to be to help them buy out what was there and buy into what they're doing now. So instead of being the true Jews, they're the Ashkenazis who were European people of Jewish descent. But that's not God calling his people from the four corners of the earth. See, that hasn't happened yet.
No.
So that's why I don't get too excited about going to Israel to view anything. I don't even make those trips. I've had tickets that have been given to me. Said, look, we just need you to come. We want you to come. I have no interest. What am I going to do over there? I don't believe what they're doing. I don't even believe they're the true Jews. So why in the world would I go there? That's my logic. I'm not saying that anybody should buy this. I'm just saying that's where I am. Yes.
When you get some more tickets, will you give them?
No. I will not pass on what I will not use. The people that I love. I'm not going to pass them on. Yes.
Just to reinforce, it was a political accommodation.
Of course.
Helped to be orchestrated by an African American.
Yes. That's a good word.
Yes, sir.
So, I'm just saying. So what we have to do, we got to be careful of what we embrace, because we can look like we're moving up, but we just keep on making zero better. Now, if we put it in a different context, and we now just going to talk about it from the perspective of being in this country or in the Western world, right now we look back and we see where the plantation. Well, I mean, this is real stuff, and as the chief defenders of the faith, I think it's our responsibility to keep the truth. No matter what it sounds like, we should keep the truth, you know what I'm saying? So, this concept of slavery, which now the writers of history talks about how it was ended with the Civil War and how the guy walked up and 2 years later into Galveston and told the people in Texas 2 years late that the war was over, that slavery was ended. And so now we celebrate Juneteenth 2 years after the fact. The point I'm making is that this concept is ground level zero, breaking out of that, except we never move from zero, because what happens is that the risk moved from our wrist to around our mind. So we're still living our lives out making plantation life better. We spent a lot of time trying to make it better. Can we just all get along? When he asked that question after he had been beat near to death, I mean, how can you ask that question when they could just whip you like you were a dog? Well, it's very simple. When you've been programmed in this mindset, your thought is that can it be better on the plantation?
All right.
That's your thought. And I can't say that I have a fault with that, because I do understand that people look at survival as a primal driving force in everything. And so they're just trying to take care of living here. But our foreparents, who were the descendants of slaves and who did see the Emancipation Proclamation, our foreparents actually saw something that that today we don't see. They saw this. To them, freedom meant exactly what the definition of it is. We'll look all this up in just a minute. To them, they saw from where they were. This is before the Emancipation. This is back in this area. They saw something. And as best they could, they passed it on and tried to get us focused, but we weren't there. So we don't really know everything we should know, because we didn't write the books, you see. So the people who've written the books have told us about the strength. Even the movie, there's a movie out now called Harry. Now, you know, we've been reading about Harry for a long time, right? And I haven't seen the movie, but some of you have. And I'm sure it's a very good Hollywood rendition of a very brave woman, and that's good. The problem with the concept is that we have many heroes and heroines, many. And to pick one out gets us focused on this one person as being the only person. It's like saying that the only leader we ever had, like leader. Why do we need a leader? How come we can't all be leaders?
Yeah.
Why can't we be servant, warrior, leaders?
Yeah.
You understand? But the way it's done is that you focus on one. I was in a meeting one time with Reverend Jackson, and we were at Stouffer's downtown in Austin, getting ready to do a move on 7 Up, and believe it or not, in spite of the fact that he may have gotten crossed up with the whole thing of liking young girls and things, and I'm not going into any of that conversation. I would not either submit to it being true or not true. And I'm in the house of the Lord, so I'm not definitely going to answer any questions about it. But he was a visionary. He really was. And yeah, he may have had a clip in his talk, and he may have gotten caught up on making some money because he began to lose faith in the system and all that. But he came from a long line of people that he worked with that were visionaries. Jim Bevel was a visionary. Right. Bernard Lafayette was a visionary. Yeah. A. Phil Randolph was a visionary. Right. Yeah, Martin was a visionary. Don't get me wrong about that. But you had a bunch of them. But the system makes us look at one person, and then they applaud that person. Well, yes, let's applaud that person. But let's don't lose sight of the fact that we're still trying to make life better for us in the profession. So we spend years sending our children to schools, going to higher education so they can get a good job. Very rarely do you send your child to school that they might be able to start some company to employ more of their people. Very rarely do we have this conversation. Very rarely do we understand anything about what it means to get out of debt. Instead, we know what it means to get free enough to get something else, because we want to make life better on the plantation. So what I'm saying to you is that we got to move away from just starting at zero. Y'all with me? Yes. So that's where this conversation will come from on today.
That's really less than zero.
Sir?
It's really less than zero.
It is sub-zero.
Minus 2, negative number.
Sub-zero. Thank you for that. I was trying to keep it
Thank you.
In the civil area, but yes. So, and then, you know, we get scared, too, to talk about stuff like this. You know, we think that there's something holy about being a good Negro. We believe that. We believe that when we start to act more European, that it brings us to some level of sophistication that will be accepted. One time, Malcolm X said, if you see, you know what they call a black man who's a doctor? Why he said it? This is history. All right. I'm just talking. Come on now. He said they call him nigger. Yeah, not ninja. What? The reason we can look at this and not be afraid of looking at it is because the truth sets us free. We got to learn to face the truth. I don't get upset when people do that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You know, you can walk up and say anything you want to. If you're willing to run the risk of trying to be faster than I am on clearing my holster, then I'm okay with you doing that. You see, that's if you're going to attack. But if you're not going to attack, you can say anything you want, because we have to learn that we're not defined by what other people say about us.
That's right.
And by what other people think of us, and we're not even defined by how our performance is evaluated. That's not our definition, that's not our word. And what we've learned to do in order to keep things better on the plantation, we keep sending our kids into systems that are designed to measure them by these standards, which are always at zero. Always. Every standard in every school that we know that's public is focused in this area right here. There's no educator that I know in America or in Canada and in most of Europe, not in all, but in most of Europe, that will be able to say that they're looking beyond this for the students that are in the public systems. Not the blue systems, the public systems. So yesterday I made the statement that every church ought to have a school, right? Some got uneasy about that because you don't have one. But don't feel bad about it. You know you could partner with another church or two or three, and then the three pastors could get together with their congregations and say, we're going to have one school that reflects all three of these churches. You can do that. I mean, you know, that's not impossible to do. That's how the first school came about anyway, by the way. So what I want to talk about is the challenge associated with trying to break free of this mentality, this program. That's really where we are. Okay. Anybody want to ask me about what I'm going to talk about? So, the challenge is what I have shown here, and that's kind of hard to see. Can you see this? Okay, good. We don't need to drop the lights or anything, right? You can't see it.
What comes next?
So, yeah, that's right. Let's see what this next one is. So the challenge that we have before us is developing generational leaders. That's our challenge. We're the Family Life International Fellowship. That's who we are. And we envision Christ-centered families changing their environments generationally. Now that's a serious vision because it's not just birth in me. This is where we're headed. That's the target. That's what we're looking for. We're not aiming with anybody. We're not mad with anybody. What we want to do is get upset with the situations that we've accepted and allowed for so long. That's what we should be. And as God's people, we should never accept the status quo. You realize that Jesus was counterculture? He never went along with the culture. Never. When he came in, he said, for this cause I've come into the world. Why? To die. Oh, we don't want to be going with you because you're going somewhere we don't want to go. We have to be in that same position. So we envision Christ-centered families changing their environments. That alone could have gotten us home a few days ago. We envision Christ-centered families changing their environments generationally. Therefore, our mission is to develop Christ-centered families as a kingdom priority through the local church internationally. Now that defines us.
Can I ask you to expound on environment?
Yes, sir. Love that question. Right question at the right time. So, no matter where you are and what you're doing, you are in some environment where there are assessments going on. You're assessing it, it's assessing you, you're inputting into it, and it in turn is either taking it or rejecting it. You're being either defined by something or you're defining something. You are being called or challenged by something, or you're calling or challenging something. But wherever we are. So for instance, we're in an environment in here. It's a freedom environment. We're talking about things that free people talk about. Earlier, you heard this whole conversation that got very involved because we were free enough to talk about an area that, generally speaking, many people have plugged back up and don't talk about. You see? Well, it's because we're in an environment that's free. You step out into the workplace. I was a manager of engineering construction for Montana, built plants all over the world. And I remember distinctly that I had to learn the environment of the boardroom. To learn that. And let me tell you something, you don't get a lot of second chances for that.
Right.
For those of you better go in and learn it. So the first thing I learned is that you wore a navy blue suit, a powder blue shirt, a paisley tie or a club tie, and that you generally had wing-toe shoes. And the only exception to that is that you could wear some boots every now and then, but even they had to be wing. So, you walk into this room and everybody's looking basically the same way, dressed the same way. And you're sitting around, here comes the president. He walks in and has a few words, because he's not going to stay in there long. His executives were working there, and then their directors. He's only going to come through to show his face. But when he comes through, he makes absolutely certain that you see how he is dressed. And when he leaves, that stays in your mind. That's an environment. So you know that when you're in that setting, that's how you're supposed to be. And not only that, there were certain words we used, certain statements that we made. We talked about, in that particular era, we talked about synergism of a group. We didn't have this thing about group leadership necessarily, but we did talk about group synergy under a leader. Now, I realize it's reversed today, but in that day it wasn't the case. We talked about we talked about a phrase that I wish we still talked about. It's called first person responsibility. Because first person responsibility meant that your neck was on the block. So you live and die by the decisions you make. Oh yeah, and you had budget authority at that level. So I was always reminded of how many millions of dollars every time you sign your name, you get ready to spend for this company. In other words, it don't belong to you. It's just that you're the one that dies if you go through the wrong direction. That's an environment. Or when kids go into a classroom, they walk into the classroom, you sign that there's a certain group that sits in the back, and then there's a certain group that sits in the center, and on the end rows, and then there's a certain group that is sitting in those first two rows. So what happens is that you think they self-select, but in reality, the teacher plays a major role in where these people go, and how the teacher responds to the individuals, make them feel like they're in a certain place, and they find out others who are like them, and then they go and settle in those places. That's an environment. And it goes on from there. Churches have different environments, but overall, it's an environment. Okay with that? Thank you for that question. So, we're in the business then of developing generational leaders. That's the challenge before us. Now, in dealing with that challenge, we have to recognize that there's some opposition. There's going to be opposition. The first item is that developing generational leadership is hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's difficult to break you out of a mode that you have become comfortable in. And that you get some modicum of return on investment. Investment of your time, investment of your resources, and you get some modicum of a return, even if it's down in the infinitesimally small percentage return. It is still better than zero, and it's better than negative. It becomes difficult. People generally speaking would prefer to go without rocking the boat. Generally speaking, then you get some mavericks come along like this crew in here. I get a crew of mavericks, hopefully. Well, they don't mind rocking the boat because they recognize that if you don't rock the boat's headed for the waterfall and everybody's trying to make it out like everything's okay. You realize that the people on the top deck of the Titanic also died? So I think we have a responsibility to ensure that we are in the business of rocking the boat. So developing generational leadership is hard, but there's another issue that is in opposition to us. Bishops often feel like they are drowning. Yes, you feel overwhelmed. If you're pastoring pastors, which is what bishops do, particularly at the primary level, then pastors have problems. One time I was talking to Bishop Alton, and she said, this is what, about two, maybe 3 years ago. She said, I hope you include a session on pastors leading pastors. Remember that? Pastor leads a pastor. And it hadn't crossed my mind to include that. But it made so much sense to me because when I ran into an issue at that particular time, I had 2 or 3 people I could call and say, what did you do in this situation? And then, or if I didn't want to ask them what to do, I would just call and say, I'm just so upset. I'm really ready to throw in the towel. I said, sick and tired of these people. They say one thing, they do something else. They don't halfway support what they do. They tell me they're going to build a ramp out here. And here I am 2 weeks into it, now I got half of a ramp. You know, I'm just using that as an example because it just popped into my mind. I'm probably going to hear that again. But it should have been built already. I said, I had that ramp a month ago. Is that about right? Should we have had it about that? At least a month ago.
Yes, sir.
So I still got an unfinished ramp out there. And since we're getting ready to move into the colder period of time, that ramp may not get built out until the summer. Yeah. Well, I mean,
We're gonna finish that ramp before we leave.
I got a basketball court out there. It's NCAA specs.
Yeah.
I got one goal up. Now, yeah, we can play half-court ball. We could. And it'll be fun. No doubt about it. It's a bit chilly now and it's raining. It's supposed to rain today, so I thought we were going to get a chance to shoot the hoops out. But it's raining. The point I'm making is that we should have had the second hoop up almost 6 months ago. And we still moving around it. So, you can become overwhelmed. And so you have to call somebody that you know that cares about you and who you can be transparent with and say, you know, I'm having some serious problems. Or maybe it might be a relationship issue, but somebody that you trust that you know is going to be a straight shooter with you and will not be looking for fault. Instead, they'll be looking for ways to help. So, if you don't have that, you feel like you're drowning, and oftentimes we have many who do drown. The percentage rate of pastors that are quitting the ministry is astronomical, and it is growing. So, you got to wonder, say, well, I mean, we serve the same God, right? And the book we read says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, right? And the book we read says that we're more than conquerors. That's what it says, right? So what do you think's happening here? I mean, why is that going on? Why do we find ourselves in that mode of just saying, look, I'm going to the shower. Period. I'm going to the shower. I'm done. When I was in high school, guys, I ran track. I don't remember a lot about high school, but I do remember that. I ran track, and so I loved it. But Coach Purnell used to tell me about, you know, you need to be playing football. You know, you acting like a sissy. You don't get out here and play football. You need to play football. You'd be great little running back. So, you know, initially he got into that little macho thing, and I got caught up in it. I said, okay, coach. So I went out, and before we started putting the pads on, we were just doing plays and, you know, getting the feel of the ball. And it went great for a while, you know, man, it's great. And then we had a scrimmage. So my job, it was a simple play. I was going to run to the right and go off tackle on the right side. Then I could outrun everybody on that side. I knew that those guys. So I could outrun them if I could make it through the line. And the guys in front, the guys who were from the hood, I knew them. So they were open that door. So Blue, I think, was a quarterback. He took the ball and he pushed it in my gut. Down, and I'm looking good. I skipped down through that hole, opened that thing up, and I got by the defense, and this linebacker, he had to be insane because he knew I was naked. Because I generally never went anywhere that I was naked. But he knew that because we had to put on pads. So you can't get the stuff when you got pads on. Right? So he knew that. And he clotheslined me. Now that was personal. Yes. He clotheslined us personal. Right? But he was trying to make certain that I remembered that. Yeah. Well, when I got up, I thought about what was going to happen. And I thought about if I could go right now and it become a brawl and then we get kicked out because of all that. Or I can wait till later on when we're all showered up and he gets ready to go home and he had to go down my street. Or I could just say forget it. I chose to say forget it. got up, headed for the shop. Larry, where are you going? I'm going home. The next time they saw me, I was a cheerleader. No shame in the game either. And I never got hit again. What I want you to appreciate here is that you need to be in a mindset that allows you to operate without fear of your environment or your circumstances. That's really the message. So, if you're not careful, as a pastor, I know I found this, I can feel myself being sucked into this state of despair. We've been in Austin now, pastoring at this church for 35 years. Wow. Before we were here, we pastored at Maryland Street in Missouri, which is about 75 miles, was it? It's about 75 miles of the Columbia River out of St. Louis. And then took on the church in Webster Grove just before leaving. So we got a collective number of years that's less than 50, but more than 40. I have to be honest with you. There have been times over that period of time, and I felt like I was untethered. Maybe you've never been there. Maybe I don't know, but I can talk about myself.
Yes, sir.
I just felt like I didn't. It was too much. You gotta pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
But the people who are not giving, then all they expect to do is come in and the lights are gonna be on. Like it's magic, right? Let there be light. Except the electric company don't play that. I don't even believe in God. I don't know that for a fact. But I tried it with them and it didn't work. So I know that the point I mean is I felt like I was drunk. So these are two major oppositions. Are there more? Yes, there are. Complacency is one. Yes, there are more. But these two are the ones that jump out as being the ones that cause us tremendous harm. Before we get into the discussion, let me lay this out. It caused me, over the years, to develop, and this is probably my relapsing, because I have an addiction. I can relapse back in my engineering mode of thinking. So, and this was probably a result of that relapsing. But I don't relapse as much as that bishop right there. He hasn't left his addiction yet. But I do relapse, and I do admit that. So this focus there is how do I look at life and what are the things that are important. Here are a couple that I want you to do. First thing is that I had to understand that if I did not develop biblical faith, then I would not make it as a pastor, and I definitely would not be able to make it as a bishop. So when I was looking here at Habakkuk, and we all know the verse, in chapter 2, it says, and the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. So all this is about having faith in what God said. It awaits its appointed time, so you can't make it happen soon. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. So God will always accomplish what he plans to accomplish. It will not lie. God cannot lie. It's not in its nature. But look, if it seems slow, and that's what happens when you go to feeling like you're in despair, wait for it. Now, I found out something, and be very careful, bishops. Be very careful with this. You can ask God, Lord, help me in my patience. I'm impatient. Listen, you don't want to pray that prayer. You don't want to. That's a serious prayer. Be careful of that prayer. Because the minute you get there, and you're just looking in the book, it says, oh, we joy in trials. Because trials work in said, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. So if I believe what God says, then I can take assurance here. But then, in the next verse it says, behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright within him. Okay, that's for the people who are trying to do it on their own. Then the word says, but the righteous shall live by faith. Now that ought to be enough right there to get us standing up straight. We don't have to be bound over. Okay, I need to trust what God says. Romans 1:17 echoes says, for in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith for faith. Now in the KJV, it used to say from faith to faith, right? And then the NIV, the early before up to 1984, it said to, I don't remember what it says after 1984 because I don't trust it after 1984. But for in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith. And this is the way the ESV says it. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. Paul told the church of Galatia 3:11. Now it is evident that no one is justified before God by the law. So no matter how good you are, for the righteous shall live by faith, not by how good you are. Hebrews 10:38. But my righteous one shall live by faith. And if he shrinks back, if you throw in the towel because you are caught up in despair, the Lord says, my soul has no pleasure in him. Now he got me too blocked, right? I'm too blocked now. So he got me blocked on the front and blocked on the back. He said, no, you're going to have faith, but if you choose to turn back, I have no pleasure in what you're doing. God is not in the quitting business. God is not a quitter. He's not in the quitting business. So he does not expect those who have been committed to him to quit. That's why when I go talking about the stats of pastors who are leaving, I understand it, but I don't understand. Matthew 9:27 is interesting. It says, and as Jesus passed on from there, two blind men followed him. Get this. Crying aloud, have mercy on us, son of David. When he entered the house, the blind men came to him. Now these are blind folks, right? They heard him was coming, so they began to cry out. He entered the house, so that means that they were following him. They knew where he was going. The blind men came in, and Jesus said to them, do you believe that I'm able to do this? That's where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe he's able to do it?
Yes.
Every bishop has to reach a point where they're able to say, I believe God can do this. Either I believe it, or I don't believe it. If I don't believe it, then I am fooling myself. Do you believe I can do this? Do you believe I'm able? They said to him, yes. Or the blind man sometimes got more sight than most. 29 says, then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. According to your faith. He could have said, according to my power.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He said, according to your faith. So if you don't believe it, when you read Hebrews 11:6, we like to talk about it, right? Yes, it's good to read, right? But when it says it's impossible to please God, right? Yeah. You got to believe that he exists. Yeah. So he will only hear you if you can believe that he is. Yeah. That he diligently provides a blessing, depending on what translation you use. Well, this drives it home. Then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it done to you. So faith then is stage one of the focus. It's phase two. Family. Everything that there is to know about life, I learned between the ages of 1 and 6 years old. I polished it up. It was polished up for me between the ages of 6 and 12 years old. Then after 12 years old, I was grown. Yeah. I thought. The point I'm trying to make is that many times parents don't realize the impact they're having on children at those early ages. Amen. But they're sponges. They're sucking up everything. That's why it is so important. And I know that we're in a time of rugged individualism because we believe that John Wayne was a saint. Yes, or Clint Eastwood, they do the same. Yeah. But it is the bottom line, guys. We ought to try to stay in the conclave of family as one of the king. You ought to have at least 2 or 3 generations that's helped raise kids. Every parent ought to be backing up letting grandparents have more to say for the kids.
Amen.
Every parent.
Amen.
Because the grandparents have been where you're trying to go.
Amen.
That's what it should. Now, we don't operate that way because, there's so many things that's against that. But I've been in situations where there were 3 generations. Matter of fact, I think I've been in situations where there were 4 generations. With us, when we were raised, we were where there were 3 generations on my dad's side and 2 generations on my mom's side. That's how we came up. So we should be very careful to ensure that we're operating in that model. Because only in that model can you learn that this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Instead of making it better, burn it down. So if you don't want to burn it down, well, at least break out.
Yeah.
Leave it. Because this will not ultimately help you get to this point. If you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you have always got. So the point here is that the family then becomes the ground in which it's our ground zero. So we read what God was talking about this in the 12th chapter of Genesis, right? In chapter 12, verse 2, it says, and I will make of you, and you know that this is this generational projection, I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and make your name great. I will make you a great nation, I will bless you, and I will make your name great. Why? So that you will be a blessing.
Yeah.
So God blesses us so that we can bless others.
Amen.
That's the problem. That's what we lose here. See, we get blessed and we think, and we've been programmed to believe that it's about our own edification, that it's about our own edifices, that it's about our own work. We are being blessed. And so I'm walking around with my PhD, and I got a few rings on my finger, and I'm able to talk about things because I'm wearing this like a badge. What I really should be doing is talking to this baby down here who don't even know what PhD is, about what it means to be free of this thing.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what we should be. Thoughts?
Well, you keep going back to this. It's a scripture that every time you go over to the book, and I just having that form of godliness.
Oh, you read the script. Yes.
You go right back to it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, in effect, you remain an invalid.
That's it.
Because you never get to the real thing. There's no authenticity. So, God goes on, he says that I will bless those, yes, this now I'm blessing you so you'll be a blessing. But then he gives him some real encouragement. I will bless those who bless you.
Amen.
So now listen, how many times do we make certain that we pass that on? Everybody who bless me be you. Then God will bless you. You bless me, God bless you.
Yes, right.
No, not you bless me, I bless you. Because I can't even bless myself.
All right.
Right.
But if you bless me, God blesses you.
Yes.
Because his word was, I will bless those who bless you. And him who dishonors you, I will curse. So I'm gonna damn those who damn you. I'm gonna bless those who bless you. That's a program right here. This is a serious program. And in you, all the families of the, wait a minute, what? And in you all, A-L-L. Now, if you go back into the Hebrew, you're going to find out what's the article that's used there. This is not my strongest area, but anyway, you do the research on that. It's going to really blow your mind. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So God gave us a generational program that says that no matter where I'm starting, if I will focus on what he has said and do those things which he has said, he in turn will do what he has said, and then everybody who follows you gets blessed as a result.
Amen.
I mean, come on now. How simple is that? Yet we don't seem to buy into it. So we got to go and hear what the writer of Acts is saying. Many believe that this frame party may have been Luke and could have been. In Acts 3:25 it says, you are the sons of the prophets, and of the covenant that God made with your fathers, saying to Abraham, oh, wait a minute, he's repeating what God said. And in your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, we've got to see that this ascending implies that we're being blessed generationally. That's the idea here.
Yeah.
Right? So, as I operate, no matter where I'm on this line, no matter where it is, every time I'm doing those things according to what God says do, I am operating by building the family, by structuring the family, so that the family is indeed stronger and stronger and stronger. I'm looking at it generationally. That means I got my eyes 10 generations down the road. I have no idea what they're going to look like. But that's not my concern. My concern is that whatever they look like, they're going to look at the top.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, it.
And when you do that, then you can invest in you can make certain investments. Our people have an aversion. How many of you, well, most of you went to young people, but there was a time there used to be an insurance that they sold to black people. And so what they would do, they would come and collect every month. You remember that? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We broke them up from that to come to our house. We didn't have no insurance guys coming to our house. I mean, we weren't thieves or anything, but I think that you can be Robin Hood. Plays the role of Robin Hood in those instances. So,
Go to heaven.
yeah, well, I don't know. All I can say is that Miles Alley was not frequented by the insurance collectors as much as they were in this. I know about that part. Here's where I'm going with this. We have an aversion, however, to investing in instruments. I gave Brother Chris an assignment yesterday. Are you ready for the assignment?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I'm not going to do it right now, but you did get prepared, right? Okay. Please remind me that we can do that before we all go. And look, Brother Kofi is leaving tomorrow, as most of you are, right? Many of you are. So whatever we're going to do, we got to do it before everybody leaves so they can see that what we're talking about is not just smoke. We have an aversion to investing. I don't really blame you because certain systems you can't trust.
That's right.
But we ought to at least do the research and have someone who is versed or well versed enough to say this works, this does not. This works, this does not. Now anybody can say that. That's why you got to make certain it's somebody that you can trust. That's what I'm really saying. And you find out that most of us have debt right now that we don't need and don't have to have. If somebody would show us an instrument that we can trust, that would help us get out. I got to trust the person bringing the instrument, and then the person bringing the instrument got to show me why I should trust the instrument. So, here then, in my opinion, is that when you say that in your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed, to me what that says is that you should be taking steps right now to ensure that the next generation blesses the generation following it. Look what I just said. Make sure that the next generation blesses the generation following it, so that the generation following it blesses the generation following it. You got me? So it becomes a chain reaction. Not dominoes fall, but a chain links being linked, so that we ought to be able to link it all the way back to our foreparents. And one day we're going to be foreparents. Yes, yeah. If the Lord delays his coming, we're going to live before. So, the next part of this focus, though, is two areas. One deals with friends. Jesus was relational. He kept people with him. He was surrounded by folk, and male and female. He did things with people, and they were close. They ate together. They walked together. They talked together. He was into the business, and so And when things got very serious, there was even a smaller group that he took with him on some of the very serious areas. Now, most of those people ran away when he was getting ready to be crossed. And not everybody. The women didn't. Hello?
That's right.
I know there's a whole case to make that don't make it. Please, can we not make that case right now? Because I'm trying to get somewhere else. All right. But it's a serious case. We need to acknowledge that he exists. He was relational, and I believe that we should be operating as he operated. Now here's an interesting reference made in Exodus 33:11. It says, thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face. That's what he used to do. As a man speaks to his friend. Now, of course, we're not talking about physical face to face because Moses would have been dead, but in his glory. So, as a man speaks to his friend. So God then counted Moses as what? A friend. You want to be counted as a friend of God. I want to be counted as a friend of God. And every bishop ought to have that as an ambition. I want to be a friend of God. Because as I'm a friend of God, and God has assigned me these tasks, I can then become a friend to those who I have served. Y'all listen to what I'm saying? Catch this. When Moses turned again into the camp, his assistant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, that's a generation of folks right there, right? A young man would not depart from the tent. You ought to have young folks who are on your coattail. I mean, no matter what, look, they should be able to sense that you're doing something. They don't understand it all yet, but they know that you're doing something that's going to cause their tomorrow to be better than their today. And you're making their today not too bad. That's where it ought to be. That's where it ought to be. So, if we learn how to operate that way, then as Joshua would not leave Moses' side, so we should have those Joshuas in our lives who we are cultivating day by day. Yes. Now catch this, which is, I thought was quite interesting. When you get over to the New Testament, and you look at John 15, we love that chapter, right? Because it talks about the tree and the fruit. You can't do nothing without me. I mean, all that good stuff. But look at what happens when you get down to verse 9. It says, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. That ought to be Bishop's talking. Abide in my love. We're talking about our Christ. If you keep my commandments, if you keep the Lord's commandments, you will abide in his love, just as I have kept his commandments. In this case, Jesus is saying, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So this is a strategy here. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. Get this. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Now, that's a serious statement. We can talk about agape love and flame. We can talk about it. But let's just cut down to the chase and see what's about. How have you loved me? You died for me. That means true love is sacrificial.
Yes.
So true friendship has to be based on sacrificial love. That means my friend is someone I'm willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah, that's the way it should be built up. If you're my friend, I'm willing to sacrifice for you. I used to shine shoes at a shoe repair place on Senior Island. So we'd be down there busting those toes, and the guy was a Dago guy. His name was Dago, and he was Italian. So he would come out, and he would, you know, we were some bad dudes. Right? We could make a shoe look like glass. And so we had no problem with that. I don't root as well now. My brother still knows how to do it, but I don't root as well now. But in those days it was serious. It was serious reps. So people would come from all over to get their toes busted. So he would walk out and he would take so much pride in talking about the work we did. And that was good. Then at the end of the day, do all the tips, start emptying the buckets, and then our pockets were fat. Then at the end of the week, he would come out and collect some checks. And then he would say, business was good today, so here's a little bit more. If business was not good, he would say, business is not quite what we expected, but still here's a little bit more. To me, that's sacrifice.
Yeah.
To me, that's what that was. Now, it may not have been sacrifice for him, but that's where we see. So, anyway, back to the Lord's dialogue here. So, this is these things I've spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I love you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. So true love means I am prepared to lay my life down for you as my friend.
Yes,
I want to say, well, I do it for my spouse, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it for anybody else. Let me just call you out on that right now. I don't know anybody who would not put their life on the line for their children. I don't know anybody who would do that. I don't know anybody who will not put their life on the line for their parents. They could be no good parents. They're still your parents. And the only way you get sidetracked from that is if you buy the lie of society about worth and their lack of. Then you are operating, once again, in this box. Caught up in trying to make things better than the plantation. Jesus goes on, though. He takes it to the next level. He says that no longer, well, he says, you are my friends. Well, how do you know that? You are my friends if, this is a condition, if you do what I command you. So, yes, I will lay my life down for you, but I expect you to do something. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit. You should go and do something. And that your fruit should abide. So it should abide generationally. We should be able to look back here. Because we can all come back after 10 generations. We're going to be able to look back and see every step of this ladder where somebody has planted something based on what you planted in there. It's just making any sense at all. Just about done. Now, the freedom part becomes almost self-explanatory. Because if I can break free of this mindset here, I now am in a position where I can start laying out some plans of my own. And my own is not my own because I'm following the script that God has given me. And as I follow the script here, based on doctrine, sound doctrine. The other night, Pastor Coffey, where's Pastor Coffey? I'm not sure how to say this. Anyway, you've got to have sound doctrine. You've got to deal with sound doctrine. And we get in trouble when we do not deal with sound doctrine.
Amen.
Paul makes a big deal of it with Timothy and Titus, but we must make a big deal. We got to teach and preach the things that God says and nothing else. Oh my goodness. Well, how do you apply? You apply like I'm doing right now. I didn't say about application. I'm saying what you're preaching, the doctrine you're preaching. I'm not giving you different doctrine. I'm just applying this word to that which is contemporary, that we understand. So, catch this. In Romans 8, verse 18 says, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. So whatever I'm going through now does not even begin to approximate what it's going to be in front of me. 19. For the creation waits, eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God, of which I'm one. 20. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly. So coming over here and landing here, we didn't do this willingly. No, none of us come over here on tour boats. I didn't buy a cruise ticket to come over here on this thing. What the cruise? This was sardines. We stuffed it like sardines. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So we need to stop acting like we owe the ship captains anything. We don't owe anything. No, we don't owe them anything. That mindset that's the psychology of oppression. You gotta break out of that if we're gonna be free. Look, those that get deep here. For the creation waits eager, longing for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. That's about us. So as bishops, We have to plant these seeds. Well, we know that the whole creation has been growing together in the pains of childbirth until now. Our people need us, and we need our people. Our people need us. Look, I was having this conversation with some brothers recently. A young man who's a tremendously great craftsman, and went and got additional training in areas when he found it difficult to get work for some of the plantation owners. So he started his own business, and he's doing a fantastic job. And I said, well, why is it that we have such a hard time relating with the people from Africa who move over here? They come over to the promised land, and then they keep on acting like it is there. And I'm not by myself, others have done this. We've seen this. We've seen guys who are struggling driving a taxi cab. They save up the money so that at the end of the year, they can buy all kinds of stuff and go back into Africa looking like they're rich. They can't give a cripple crab a crutch, but they look like they're rich to the eyes of those who don't know. What's that all about? It's because they got over here and found out it was a lie, but they did not have the intestinal fortitude to face up to the fact that they're lying, so they're going to, by any means necessary, they're going to try to make this work. Guess what? It could have worked for us if we could all come together.
Yes.
See? Yeah, I mean, like right now, there are no better trained, educated black people anywhere in the world than you'll find in the West. In America, we got some of the best trained minds in the whole world.
Yeah.
We know how to do everything. And I don't mean just do it, I mean well. I was in Germany, forget about it. Going to Europe. You got some blacks in Europe who can do anything. You got blacks in Germany that can do anything. All over the Western world, you got black folks who can do anything. Except come together with our brothers and sisters from Africa. Now let's see, let's flip the coin. You know the people who are most feared on the internet, who are the greatest scam artists, who do you think they are? Nigerians. And the Nigerians are so smart. Nigerians make the whole world scared.
You're right.
They're scared of the Nigerians because they have such a tenacity and they can figure out anything. Now, the fact that they figured it out, how to make money, that's just a matter of redirecting, right? Now, what would happen if we had that type of ingenuity along with this type of training and we brought it together?
Oh, my goodness.
And see, the plantation owner can't afford that. So it keeps us fighting among ourselves intellectually.
That's right.
We do it at a level of sophistication because we are unwilling to do that. All I'm trying to show you here is that freedom is available, but Jesus told us how it comes about. You can only have freedom if you know the truth.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about what I'm saying? I want to deal with first the focus. There's more to this, and you'll get it online. But I wanted you to at least see that. Matter of fact, I'm just going to run through real quick because I've already worn out my weapon. But there are requirements associated with this. The first requirement is that you got to know the Word of God. You got to have the Word of God. There is no truth that is not based on the Word of God. So you got to know the Word of God. You don't have the Word of God, you got nothing. You can talk about Galileo, you can talk about Gamaliel, you can talk about all the greats, all you want. One of my favorite philosophers, and this is going to sound strange, but I hope you can appreciate it. I like to read about Machiavelli because well, I also like to read about Nietzsche, because I think they were both two shrewd, corrupt people, but they had some great philosophical strategies. And you ought to be able to separate them from the strategy. So, but even if you do that, you're still not anchoring it on the truth. The truth is the Word of God. Then, you got to believe what you read. I got to believe what I read. So, I have to read the Bible, but I must believe the Bible. That's a requirement. And if I read the Bible, then I must practice it. because my beliefs drive my behavior. So I will only behave based on what I believe. All of you are sitting down right now because you actually believe the chairs will hold you. If you didn't think the chairs will hold you, guess what? You'd either be on the desk table like that or you'd be standing up. So you believe it. Guess this. The behavior that follows the right beliefs will always give you certain benefits that will help you become more and more generational. That's where I'm going. I'm going to rush into it now, but I won't get to the back of it. There's a process associated with this. And this is back to that relapsing thing, but let me just indulge with it for a moment. In the process, it got to start with Christ. Everything got to start with Christ. Colossians, Paul told the church of Colossae that everything began with him anyway. And when God spoke, think about it, when God spoke, so spoke, what do you mean? The word of God. He spoke the word of God. Well, that's the logos of God. He has a name. His name is Jesus. So we got to start with the Christ. And if you start with the Christ, then you want to take on his character. I was doing a family values workshop at the insistence upon the bishop and stumbled upon this process formula. And so I had him send it to me so I could remember what it was. So Christ, you then imbue the Christ character, and the Christ character should lead you to making Christ-centered choices. Every choice we make ought to be Christ-centered, because you're making the choice based on your Christ-centered character. Guess this, if I make the choice, then that means that because you choose to conduct yourself a certain way, right? So when someone sees my conduct, they ought to see Christ. If I'm going to meet this challenge, I can't meet it effectively unless I'm able to conduct myself the way Christ does. Then the consequences are self-explanatory. I expect all consequences don't have to be negative. I should see the consequences that follow this process. Now, the reality is that we get disencouraged. Things come along, even when I'm trying to follow that process. Things come along that cause me problems. So these are some closing words of encouragement. First of all, you're not alone. So bishops that are in here now, we're a support system to each other.
Yeah.
We ought to be able to talk to each other. You know, the other day I was involved in something, and lo and behold, my phone rings, and it was for me. You know, I didn't want anything. I just wanted to call you and just say something to you. Oh, I thought to myself, well, that's...
That's all.
I said it was kind of strange that he catch me at that time. Now, at least you called me when I was in the office sitting and at the computer. Now, this bishop here called me when I'm out in the middle walking a 5-mile walk, and I'm huffing up. And then she has the nerve to want to talk. I'm trying to sound like I got it going on, right? But what the phone? So the point I'm trying to make is that we need the support system. Oh, I'm not discounting others, but I just those two just come to mind. We are our support system. You are not alone, and the enemy wants you to think you are alone.
Yeah.
Not only that, you are not to blame for whatever you stumble into.
Come on.
Look. If you didn't invent it, then don't defend it. It's that simple. And believe it or not, 99% of the stuff that you stumble into, you didn't invent. The enemy's job is to keep you stumbling. Well, God uses stumbling to grow us.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the whole concept of increasing your strength comes from having to press your muscles beyond their comfort level.
Yes, sir.
You know, and you get upset about that. Guess this. It's going to take a while, but you'll make it. I mean, after all, everything as we've said, we need to go back and have some encouragement. Yeah, it's going to take some time. But God is not ruled by time. Guess this.
Right.
Guess this. Most criticisms are not meant to hurt you personally.
Right.
Now, when you get unsolicited negative assessments, you immediately go to personal defense and then a personal offense.
Yeah.
Back up off that. You know, don't be so thin-skinned. When God allows something, it's for your good. So if somebody comes along with a negative criticism, learn from that, because let me tell you, and this is a hard one to swallow here, generally speaking, over 80% of what they're saying,
Yes, I'm
you
sure.
needed to hear. You really did. Now, you may not agree with it, but you needed to hear it.
Yeah.
Because within that 80%, almost 100% of it is something that you can use if your mind is open enough to apply it in your life. And I mean, that's about it. I'm not talking about illegal stuff. It is. I mean, don't you need to hear that every now and then?
Yes, sir.
And I do.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great work for the Lord. But even if you did not hear it, you can remember what God said to Abraham. And God is very clear that He appreciates
Yes, sir.
what you do. I will bless you as you bless me. I will do that. Jesus said this, look, if you love me, keep my commandments.
Yes, sir.
Right? If you love me, keep my commandments. Then he says, if you keep my commandments, I know you love me and the Father will come and live in you. I mean, that's a serious word right now. Look at this. Simple victories. I didn't mean to go that fast. Go back to that. Simple victories must be celebrated. Stop waiting for something big to happen. Like I remember walking with Bishop when I came to years ago, back when RC was still living, the place went down and showed me this light. And I said, this is where we're going to build it up right here. We're going to do this. And he had this vision in his mind. I didn't see it because I didn't know what he was talking about, but he knew what he was talking about. And he had this vision, and then he talked about what he was going to do. And then the next year or so, pretty soon RC left, and then he said, well, Bishop, they're really giving me a hard time. The city's running me through, they're doing this and they're doing that. Now they got this and they got that. And then he said, but we'll put up some temporary buildings. Now, temporary to me means something different necessarily. So he built this up, because at the time he was over with Bishop Allison, right? And that's how hard to have places that you come and do worship. So I'm going over, and so we walk over to his place. And I'm walking through his place, and I think to myself, I don't know that I build anything. I would keep this for a long time. I would stay right with this. And the only time I would ever spend another dime on building anything is if my people start to burst at the seams. I'm just saying. Just saying that. Simple victories. We got to celebrate simple victories. Now, in the process of saying that, we need a strategy. Here's the strategy. It's fast. Number one, developing generational leadership and launching our spiritual warfare. So we need to appreciate this is not a battle that we're in and of ourselves. It is a spiritual battle. We're in warfare. It may look like the inspector is your problem, but he's not. That's not your problem. It might look like the person that just called you a derogatory name is your problem, but it is not. We're in spiritual warfare, and the moment you start to see that, because now Satan is going to do everything he can to keep you looking in the other direction. If you ever get to that point, you can whip him every time he gets wrong. Matter of fact, you can whip him to the road like over. Get this. Bishops, in developing generational leadership and launching, feel alone. That's back to that overwhelming part. And the adversary wants you to feel that way. The adversary rejoices in the fact that you feel like you're by yourself.
Yeah.
So, you gotta appreciate it. That's his strategy, but you also need to counter the strategy. Get this one. Watch this. Satan has no offense to penetrate the armor of God. In other words, he has no weaponry that can cut through what God has given you. If you're in your right road, then God has already prepared you to handle whatever comes your way, even when you feel like you want to give up.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're in your right road, God has prepared you. He's prepared you. Yes.
Does that, what you're saying is that the enemy of God cannot kill purpose.
He cannot kill purpose. I love that statement. It's a good statement. He cannot kill, but he also cannot develop. So he can't kill that which he cannot develop. Only God gives us the vision. Right? Only God does. Only God does. So our position must be that we recognize the enemy and we know that no matter how strong he looks, he cannot penetrate our armor. Not only that, you are not alone because God is with you. So if I understand that strategically, then I can say you are not alone because God's people are with you. We are together. That's why this fellowship has to come together. We got to become closer there. We got to all be working hard to get the job done. I am 100% certain on this, and it's going to be tight, but it's right. We got too many of our people who are wearing these titles of bishop, who are good, solid people, but they're not doing the work. See, your pastorate is important, but you take on a new responsibility. And that responsibility says, not only do I pastor my church, but I pastor pastors who pastor churches. So now I must, in turn, help them by what I'm learning here. And by the way, as I'm helping them, I'm going to learn some more things that's going to even help me work at the place that I'm pastoring. But when you don't work to develop a diocese or an area fellowship, you are shortening yourself. And we're not as strong as we can be because the individuals who are wearing the titles are not doing what the title calls for. Is this a criticism? Not at all. This is just a facing the facts that we live in. It might be one might say, well, you know, I thought this was going to be pretty good, and I thought this was what I wanted, but I didn't realize the cost. Well, Jesus said count the cost, but I didn't count the cost. Okay, nobody's angry. We're not going to be angry about that. But we got to find somebody who's going to get in and roll with two oars. Right. You can't just have one oar and then you slip it back. No, two oars. Two. Yeah. And look, you ought to be guilty of working it. Say, well, you know, I talked to 25 people and I got one person to say yes, celebrate that. Yes. Yeah. I talked to 35 people and I got, look. I was talking to, well, I'm not going to talk about Bishop Joseph because he has a whole unique situation. They be going places and starting up fellowships and areas, stuff I can't pronounce. But his work, and you can talk about it later on, but his work is typical of the work we're seeing in Liberia. It's typical of the work we're seeing in Sierra Leone. And I've never been to Pakistan, but I got a guy in Pakistan that is constantly telling me about how many they've done. I mean, and I don't even count them. I don't count them and I don't count them. You know, I allude to them, but I don't count them because I don't yet know that God has called me to go to Pakistan. I don't know that. I'm not saying it yet. I'm just saying I don't know. But when I look at in Liberia, they have the country's cut up set up in counties, and every county has to have an area fellowship with sub-fellowships. I said, well, that's the way it's supposed to work, all right. Y'all are way ahead of us. No, we're not way ahead of you. We're behind you all. No, you're really not behind us. You really are way ahead of us. But Bishop Joe, you all are really way ahead of us right now. You just need to know that. Yeah, the principles may be here, but the reality is that you guys are doing the work. So I just want to say thank you. You know, before Bishop Hammond died, Bishop Hammond's strength was evangelism. So when we discovered that that's where he was going to spend his time, we started to encourage him and try to support him out in the bush because he could go out sometime. You wouldn't hear from him for a month or longer. There was no communication. You couldn't even get a phone to work. And then one day he would call and say, well, this is Apostle Hammond. That's what we call it. And we have a conversation. It's because he's out there doing his calling. Well, we need that. We got to make that happen ourselves. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. And of course, you're not responsible for the mess you walked into. Well, that's right. You're not. You've been in it, don't defend it. You're not. Stuff that's been there for a long time and you step into it, you didn't put it there. All right. So no need cussing it. Instead, go out, wash your feet off, wash your shoes off, and then figure out how to get that hole covered up. Find the source, cut the source off, and get it covered up. Because the people need repair. Right. That's what they do. They don't need regret, they need repair. Right. You get in there and repair it, but you're doing something that's going to help. So you're not responsible for the mess you walked into. And then, here we go now. You see that exclamation point? I was trying to speak loud. Bishops, hear the word. Bishops, believe the word. Bishops, become the word through practice. Bishops, obey the word. Bishops, preach the word. Because we're all preachers. Bishop, pray the word. I hope that sometime in your prayer you remember to pray for me.
Man.
I need you to pray for me. I'll pray for y'all, but I need you to pray for me. Please, just remember
Yes,
that.
sir.
If you don't say but a line, God can take one line of your prayer and take care of this business. Bishops, stay where God has called you. I'm just saying what the Lord gave me, that's all. All I can do is share with you. This is our challenge, team. This is where we're living right now. Amen? So if you're being obedient to Christ, none of your time is wasted. When you're being obedient, none of your time is wasted. Please remember that. Take that with you forever. Model generational leadership, because if you want to develop something, you can't develop it if you're not it. Develop generational leadership. I model it, I develop it. You can't develop it without a model. And what do you guys think about what we're saying? Any thoughts about this? I'm talking about today. I have a God.
No, it's just so rich. And you know, I don't know how to say this other than I hear God.
Amen.
Yeah.
Be true. I'm with you on that.
I hear God. And
I'm with you there.
we don't have to compare ourselves
No problem.
to anybody, or even to ourselves. But just be what God called us to be and do what God called us to do, where God called us to do.
I think one of the major pieces in the church,
Yes, sir.
when we talk about discipling, making disciples,
Yes.
I don't know what you mean, sometimes you know what that means. You know, it's like in lots of churches, they have before you can become a member, you have a 6-week class you go through. I'm not taking away from that, but that's really not making disciples.
I get it.
Oh, they're not teaching some of our how to structure, and that's it. We're making generational leaders take a commitment, time, and effort,
Long term.
long term. And in that video I mentioned today about sheep among wolves, their whole thrust is you begin to disciple someone the moment you meet them, even before they're converted. You begin to show them the way of Jesus. You begin to reveal to them the way of Jesus. And you lead them into a commitment to Jesus. But it starts with living your life out. Because what you say is a lot more than what you do is a lot more than
Amen.
It's absolutely right. It's one of the memories.
Catch this, guys. I didn't put this in the list, but 2 comments have already been made. Now, we admit, at least we should admit, that virtually everybody needs or is seeking significance.
Absolutely.
How do you spell significance?
FICA,
F-I-C-A? Does anybody know
significant,
how to spell significance?
FICANCA,
I don't.
C-A-N-C-E.
C-A-N-T.
Everybody.
SIG, period.
Catch this. Well, you know the drill. Everybody is looking for acceptance in this something. And everybody feels a need for security. Now, our problem becomes when we're looking for it in all the wrong places. We need God, that's it. Because we're looking for love in all the places. The bottom line is that God provides for us this package.
That's right.
God provides that. Now, when you have this package fulfilled, it then frees you up, and this is what I'm really trying to get at. It frees you up from the need to compare, compete, and control. I compare myself to you. You might have a couple of yards more than I have. So I'm going to work as hard as I can to get at least 3 more yards. Then I'm going to make sure that I keep 3 more yards. So no matter what you do, I'm going to always be looking at you trying to outdo you. Then as I'm trying to outdo you, I'm going to start trying to control the circumstances so you can't get no more. Compare, compete, control. And if I think I'm mastering this, I'm going to do more of it. But the reason I'm doing it is because these needs have not been met. Because the moment these needs are met, I no longer need to compare.
That's right.
I no longer need to compete. And I no longer need to control. So the generational leader and one of the other generation leaders must have this taken care of. And we know that this only can be taken care of through our God. So, those of you that said something that sparked that, thank you for that. Any thoughts before I'm closing? Yes, sir.
Yesterday, we talked a little bit about what we're looking for is what we get from the kind of interpersonal fellowship.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember. But when you begin to see the fruit manifesting itself daily, weekly, and I'm miseducated, okay? Why we didn't wait 12 years to find out if our product is good? So if you see your student exceed you, especially when they're adults, like when my principal that I help train, and I'm not principal anymore, starts to show you better things about administration and management and dealing with adults and structure and discipline and all those things, we say, oh, or they might outright tell you, what you taught me worked, and this is how I'm using it in the Middle East now. I didn't go there to be a principal, but they saw I had a principal certificate, so they asked me to be principal, and I guess I'm being that. So we don't have to wait years to see the fruit of our labor, not giving the glory to us, but saying, look, I'm subjecting myself now to a higher authority that's teaching me, because it wasn't about me to begin with, it was about God's glory.
Thank you for sharing. And I think there's a lot to be said about it. But I do want to remind you all that God gave Habakkuk the statement for us in the 21st century. You write the vision, you make it plain, so that the runner can get it and run with it. And then as you move with it, don't get impatient. Wait for it.
Yes.
Learn to wait. Waiting can be regulatory. It can cause your whole system to operate differently. Because I stopped stressing. I learned to wait on those, so I stopped stressing. I found out the other day that one side of my heart empties a certain percentage of blood as it goes, the oxygenated blood, and it empties it again, and it goes through the system, and it comes back and it gets replenished again. So I'm looking at that, and so Doc says, normal, Bishop, the normal heart would do 66%, and a third is during death in the reservoir. So a normal heart does it. Well, mine wasn't doing 66%. So I said, well, Doc, am I in trouble? He said, no, you're not in trouble. I said, but I'm not doing 66%. He said, you're not normal. Now, I could have taken that many ways, right? I could say, well, I'm not normal. I mean, am I a problem? Or what? But he made it very clear. No, you're in trouble when it gets down to this level. Now, you know, I heard this when an insurance adjuster that Mr. Chris worked with had analyzed him, but it didn't really hit home. So I asked this doctor about it. He gave me the whole 9 yards. Here's what he told me. We can get so excited and upset about stuff that we don't have any need to get excited and upset about. If you trust God, you trust Him. Our job should be to wait on what God says and keep on doing the work. See, because work and waiting go together. Waiting on God does not mean I'm sitting on my laurels. Waiting on God means I'm doing the work He's assigned me and expecting Him at any moment to bring forth the results. You don't, if you plant the apple seed, you don't sit back and just wait for the apple tree to produce apples. You can hold down and plant some more apple seeds. I don't believe John Appleseed ever saw an apple tree. No, I'm serious. I mean, I know that it's more favorable than not, but I don't believe he did. Because how can you see an apple tree when you're going all over the world planting apple seeds? You're not waiting around for the apple tree to come up. You're planting apple seeds. We got to have that mentality. Plant the seeds and get on down the road. God is the one who makes it. That's our position. So I use that to share. When things look like we should be breaking out of us patience, I want you to get in the habit of, as bishops, what we're trying to do, because the work we're trying to do, the enemy is diametrically opposed to what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Right now, the enemy attacked the family as the first institution of attack.
That's right.
That's what he did. God created the family first, Satan attacked the family first. We must make the family first and bring it back to where it's supposed to be. God's design it. And I was talking to the pastor one day, and he's trying to convince me why it was okay to be gay. So, I said, well, you're not gay. He said, no, but I embrace gay people and I ordain gay people. I said, well, this is probably the last time we're going to have that problem together.
Oh,
Well, I think you need to be honest with that.
yeah,
So, I said, I think we are part of this organization together, so you need to be effective immediately. I'm withdrawing from that. I said, I didn't mean to upset you. I said, I'm not upset. I'm just being obedient. The Bible says, come out from among them. So I'm coming out from among them.
amen.
I said, well, yeah, but how do you know that God is not pleased with this? I said, because He wrote it. That's why.
That's right.
I'm not hating on gay people,
No.
just like I don't hate on liars.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean I gotta accept the behavior. You see? Don't be trying to force that on me. So we shook hands, and I said, I haven't seen him since, and that's been almost 10 years ago. I haven't seen him since. So I have no interest in it. And he has there's no reason for you to be in this. How you doing, Bishop? Welcome. He has no reason to talk to me. We're not going to see things the same. Ever. Unless he confesses and repent, then it'll be fine. So I'm sharing that with you to say that the work we're doing, the enemy is very clever on trying to come up with ways to stall us. We have to go out. Guys, get the area of fellowship to visit. You've got to start off with 3 pastors. Start. If you can't give a 3, start. Get those 3 and start talking to them about what family life does and why it's important that they are anchored in this vision, this mission, and these strategic objectives. Let them know this is what we do. That's why those strategic objectives are there. That's why this vision statement, we need to see these. This has got to become part of who we are. We got to think this vision, think this mission, think these objectives, think these values. This has to be how we operate. Because this is who we are. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Nobody come in here by force.
Yes, sir.
Right? We all chosen.
We all chosen.
Right? So that means we have something in common.
Yes, sir.
So our vision is a common vision. You can't say, well, that's Pastor's vision. No, that's the bishop's vision. No, that's our vision.
Amen.
So this is the vision of this fellowship. And you're part of this fellowship. So that's your vision as much as it is mine. My job was to cast it out there so you can see, oh yeah, that's my vision.
Yeah.
Everybody ought to be able to say, that's my vision. Because you're part of this body. Does that make sense at all? And the enemy's job is to try and delay, derail, distract. But that's his job. Our job is to not be delayed, not be derailed, and not be distracted.
Sir.
That's our job. And let me say, we're pretty good at that because our God never fails. We're good at that. Where did Bishop Chris go? He leave?
No, sir.
I want to take about 8 minutes. Actually, about an hour, but I'm tired, so I'm going to try to take it out. But I want to become and deliver. And look, I already know how bad it is to call somebody when they didn't have time to prepare more. But and the bishop is also your son. You got certain rights, so I'm confessing that, all right? That's the way it works. So once he said, Bishop, let me apologize up front that I did not give you proper planning time. I know that. But can you at least come and have a brief word about how we can make this generational strategy effective?
Yes, sir.
I know you didn't bring the stuff. I want you to be rolling your eyes. Come on, leave it there.
Amen.
Amen. That's what I'm talking about. Amen.
So I was given this assignment by Archbishop, and I took it.
That's right.
And many of you have been given assignments, you know how that goes. And so I took it. It was a tough one. And the road was rough. Matter of fact, many times the road looked like it ended nowhere. Well, I stayed with it. Because if it's to be, it's up to me.
I heard the preacher say that. Heard the preacher
Say that. So I did find a tool, and I'm here to tell you that it will bless you. It will help you. It'll help you. It'll help your family. It'll help your church. It'll help your generations. It'll help this fellowship. It'll help you. But you got to do it. Debt. 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 God hates debt.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God hates debt so much that he sent his son into the world to pay debt. Debt. Bishop Wright, you got debt.
Yes, sir.
If I can show you a way in 9 years or less how to get completely out of debt, including your mortgage, any student loans, including kids' student loans, without spending any additional money, would you be interested?
Yes, sir.
What about in Atlanta? Y'all have debt in Atlanta.
Yes, we do in Atlanta.
Would you be interested in getting completely out of debt
Yes, sir.
in 9 years or less?
They just bought a new church.
Your church, completely out of debt, 9 years or less.
Can I get that done in a year?
Depends on the numbers, maybe. Business or less. This will help you. It's already helping me, helping my family. Get completely out of debt. Take $1. You have $1. You put your dollar in the bank. How much interest do you get back on your dollar?
-5.
All right. generous today and say that's 1%. Can we do that?
Yeah.
That's generous. Now, let's say you go back to that bank tomorrow. Ask them for your dollar back. How much do you pay on your dollar to get a dollar loan from them?
About 5%.
Depends on what? Depends on the spread, right? And I'm not telling on anybody's business, because I know the spread doesn't mean anything to anybody, right?
Anywhere from 7 to 29%.
Anywhere from 7 to 29%. That's a fact. Same dollar, but when you give your dollar to the bank turns that over 7 times. And they're going to do that same spread on 7 different people or more off of your dollar. So the target we have to look at then is that devil. You deal with Satan, but I maintain there's another devil called the bank. The average person is spending 70% of their household income on interest and taxes.
Right.
40% on taxes, up to 34% on interest. Newsflash, interest and taxes don't produce anything for you, ever. Like once it's gone, it's gone. So that, it is, that's right. So between Uncle Sam and between, well, you know, all those other snakes, they're eating away at 70% of your household income. Hello?
Yeah.
Am I talking to anybody yet?
Yeah.
Come on.
So the ideal here is that this tool, what it will do is it allow us to go in and say, okay, let's reduce interest, reduce taxes, increase what's going into your lifestyle, increase what you're able to put into your savings. Because we're doing 70% interest and taxes, we're barely doing 3% in savings. Matter of fact, the most recent statistic says 1 in 5 people ain't saving nothing.
Anything, right?
But you gotta act on it. Hello? This ain't one of them kind of things that I want to talk and haggle with you about. This tool works. Hello? And you gotta do it. If you're gonna call yourself bishoping, leading people, we gotta get debt free. Hello? Turn some debt into some wealth. And do it today. I was sitting back there with my wife, and I was my fraternity I'm a part of. I just sent the word out. I said, look, guys, let me just be straight. And I put that word out. Before I finished hitting send, I got a call from a friend in Florida. She said, Chris, me and my husband need to get out of there. I said, I'll talk to you Tuesday.
So who do you borrow, I mean, how do we, if we need money, then how will we get it if we're gonna cut the banks off? I mean, well, how does that work? What does it look like?
What it looks like is this. I keep looking for the market. Oh, there it goes. So what it looks like is this. Because the key is, I said, we're not spending any additional money. You're spending enough.
Already.
Matter of fact, that's the problem. We're spending a lot. But we're spinning our wheels. We're like on a treadmill. And we're spinning and spinning. So what we're going to do in the short version is, and mind you, it gets personalized to each person's situation. Your household, your business, whatever the case is. What we're going to do is say, okay, whereas over here, you got person, as I said earlier, they're doing 3%, give or take. Let's make, let's not be that ugly with it. Call that taxes, Texas, and then we're gonna call that interest. And so this is us over here. This is all we're doing over here. All of this is disappearing every year, month by month. So what we want to do is we want to increase by cutting back how we're doing taxes. We want to increase by cutting back on interest. What are we going to do? We're going to create our own bank. Hello. We create our own bank. I forgot about that. We're going to create our own bank so that the money that we normally go run into finance, we're going to now take that and put it in our own pockets. See if,
I'm sorry, forgive me,
yes.
and I know that I probably should have done better, but this sounds very interesting. Are you telling me I borrow from myself?
You can borrow from yourself. Principal-based money management. You got a loan out. You take this tool. You take a loan from yourself. Pay that loan off. Now you're no longer paying that excruciating, ridiculous interest on that loan, and the only person you owe is you.
Am I making money off of me?
Yes, you are actually. One, you're making money because you're going to start reducing this outflow. So that's money. Let's see, the 401k, and I'm not going to do the whole 401k dance because of my time. I know I'm supposed to stay in the window. But the 401k is not designed for you. It's designed for the business. It's designed for the economy. So you can look at it. One of the easiest ways to look, it's just like laws that we have. There's a million laws we can break, right? Cross the street at the wrong place, drive too fast, drive too slow, look too black. I mean, all those laws you can break. Well, 401k looks exactly like that on paper. There's only about 11 years where you can actually properly take money out of it.
I see.
Before that period is penalized, after that period is penalized. What is that telling you? This wasn't for you. This was for the other guy.
Yeah.
Mortgage.
So the 401 mortgage, that's the next one. So the 401k, when I put my money in my 401k, I'm pouring in money. I have a short window that I have to get it. At some point, they make me start taking it out. There's a reason they start making me take it out. We can talk about that when we sit down. But that window right there is the only place I have it. I could have put it in another tool that would have been giving me the interest gains, rather than giving the interest gains to the the managers at the different job. 529. There's a suit going on right now against 529s right now. Bureau. I think they're doing like what, 12 million that they have to pay back for mismanagement of 529 college loans.
Oh my.
So all these tools are interest based, and the taxes are doing what? Going up, down, and staying the same. Going up.
Yeah.
So if they're going up, that means that this wedge of the pie is getting bigger. And I won't say refinance. I heard more people celebrate when they come refinance. They go out to eat, go out and buy a car.
Back at around zero.
Back around zero.
Back around zero.
Yeah, the reason the bank starts screaming at you at a certain period talking about refinance is not because they're trying to help you. You've gotten past that 50% window where they were taking most of the interest. So they say refi, so now they can go back in and now increase it to that 78% interest they were taking from you while you ain't putting nothing towards your principal. Now you're back in around zero. And you go, hey, I just saved $20. So look, I don't want to, like I said, I didn't have my PowerPoint, but the way the tool works simply is it's real math. So when we sit down, I can show you on paper, it's real math based on what, we got to do some work. Got to do some work. We got to go in and look at where you're spending, what you're spending. We got to do that. That's real. Got to track it. Before you can stack it, you got to track it. But we do that, then I can assure you we can look and come up, and then when we're finished, you'll see where by using this tool, you're going to create your own base of wealth. Say, well, I don't have no debt. Where is that person? Oh, okay, you. So, person with no debt. Now, you take a new couple. Now, here's this passage. Bishop, hear this. You got these young couples, all right, they're starting out. If you could set them up this way, where instead of running to the mortgage and the finance company to finance the mortgage, their house that they can't afford, and they finance it, right, because they get, what's that word, approved. They get approved.
Right.
Now they're approved, and they're happy, right? What we could have done is set them up with on this tool policy, which allows them now where they can refinance, they can be their own financing company for their own house. See, now I'm financing it myself. Interest is going to MWAPOC.
Is this like the Asian collective of people pooling their money and then letting it back out? Or?
No, this was not. This is you. Now that's a next level. Once we all start getting free, we can do that. See, that would change the dialogue that we're having at a table like this. We could be, because as we get debt freer, then we can be having that dialogue. Now, when Bishop A, not happening this month, but Bishop here, it has a new church. Now it's a non-conversation. We pay that thing off. And we stop running behind it. Let's knock it off. See, now we plant church. When we plant it, we can actually plant it from ground zero with no debt. But it starts by us having to get debt free. Bishop Wright, come here. Let me borrow your help. I need your help. So, Bishop Wright's a young man. Stand right here, Bishop Wright. You look good. You look better than I do. Stand out here. Young man, he's in his 20s. Right in the store. Yes. And in his 20s, just starting out. Got out of high school, getting ready to go to college. So he's at college, and they have it, the student union, they have that little desk, right? You know the desk.
Yeah.
Right? The one where they say you can get a free
Credit card.
Right. So he goes up like, man, well, they're giving away those little squeegee things, or the little coffee mug holders. Are they giving away a free meal at McDonald's or something?
T-shirts.
A t-shirt. And so he goes and signs up. And now, his journey began. Walk, get you some steps in. Just walk a little bit. Not too fast, I can't keep up. And so he gets that credit card, right? Just keep walking around, because you're on that journey of life. And so as he's doing that, then he looks, he can go to the store to buy stuff. And they don't ask him for nothing. He just gives them that little piece of plastic and swipe. And he's like, man, that's great stuff. Just swipe, right? And then, he keeps moving on, and he wants to get a car. So then he goes in, he doesn't quite have enough on that card to do the car, so he has to do a little financing work, right? He don't have no credit. So, they're gonna say stuff like 0, whatever, and he signs, and then, so now he got his stride, just slow a little bit, and so now he has a house, he has a car, he's got a credit card, maybe two, because I had a friend in college, he had 3, he would just kind of work between the 3, pay one with the other, and pay one with the other, and so now he's got a credit card, and now he's got his car, and then he meets his girlfriend, And this right, you met Oh, okay, so that becomes, you know, they get hitched, right? They get married. All right, and then she need a car. So now you got 2 cars. All right, you got a car, you got to have a place to live. So he has to go buy that house. So he buys that house. And so, you know, now he's got that house. You know? What's your father's name? So he buys that house. So now he's got a house, 2 cars, and, you know, but they got some plans, you know, because, you know, Bishop Wright, you know, a shrewd man, got a degree after all, right? Got a degree, these intelligent people. And so they're working. And, you know, we're not going to let this get too much ahead of us, except we got this house, 2 cars. Then they had their first child. And they go to the hospital. You know, that's a cost. And so now he's got bills starting to pile up. You know, y'all know the bills, right? Yeah. This bill, and electric bill, and gas bill, and bills are something I signed up for. And so, you know, he's got this thing, and now they're arguing about stuff. You know, they fighting.
Right.
You know, statistics say that, you know, married couples argue, 74% of married couples argue twice a week about money.
Right.
So they fighting. And then they got children.
Wow.
So they, you know, Bishop Wright, now he's working, now he got to work. You know, first, you know, he was excited about, but now he got to work because he got to bring that money in. The money ain't quite coming in. And then, you know, hey, Daddy, can we go? Not right now. I got, come on. Keep up with the debt. You got to keep up with your debt. And so he's got arguments and disrupt, but he's still pressing, you know, because he trusts the Lord. He is pressing. He's, you know, but he's got this monkey and he's got this vision. And then wait, he started a church. And church ain't free.
Right.
So now he's got a church with a mortgage.
Right.
He's got a house with a mortgage.
Right.
Got 2 cars.
Right.
You know, with notes. And credit cards.
Yeah.
And debt. And Lord, can you hear me? And, you know, some of you know put people in this situation. And then, but wait. But then he steps up and says, look, we got to take a handle on this somehow. And what I'm telling you is that by using this tool, you take this tool, and it's called what it's called is your family bank. It's a concept. And the concept says, look, we're going to first track what we're spending. We're going to look at the whole picture. Then we're going to begin to knock some of these things off. And so he starts off, he pays off them credit cards. You know? And then he pays off the cars, because he's had those. And he didn't, you know, we're not going to make no good expenditure. He pays one off, and then he pays the other off. Give him a little breathing room, right? He pays off possibly the house. You know, as he pays the house off, then he pays off the church mortgage. You know, now I got a little room. And then before you know it, he's paid all this stuff off, you see. And now he's got some wealth. What was debt now is freedom to do some spending. And then he finds himself debt-free.
Hallelujah.
Released from it. And now he's able to now invest in his members and direct them to a route where they no longer have to take that same path. See, that's what we got to get our people where they're debt-free. So, this will help you. Hello? This will help you. So, sing it. I'll come to you. All over unfortunately, can't do nothing out of the country yet. But if we can, in the country can get free, that goes back to what Bishop said earlier, that if we can combine resources, we can now take the whole thing up high.
Yeah.
Anybody want to ask me a question? Thank you, Bishop.
I'm glad.
Free. possible market flexibility. We want guarantee.
The guarantee is on a compounded.
Guarantee is, you're gonna get 4% interest on it. And so all that works in the calculation. Yes, sir. When we finish it down, we'll be able to mark out a real map of how to come out,
Based on what
based on what your picture is. I think that's right all the time I got.
Well, I must admit, Bishop, you were a lot better prepared. So I take back my apology for calling you up, and thank you for sharing with us. Evangelist Addison, would you take these, please?
And make sure that everybody gets one.
If I understood you correctly, I will now take money that I'm paying a bank, and I'm going to start my own bank.
Yes, sir.
Amen?
Yes, sir.
That's what I hear you say. Is
Absolutely.
that what, am I understanding this?
Understand it.
Your own
Yeah.
personal bank or collective?
Personal.
I would love to have said that we had practiced and that he and I had talked about this, but the reality is that I may be the only one that is surprised. I'm appreciative of it. Thank you for that. It does make a point, however, of our need to be generational in our thinking. And I hate that.
Amen.
Our church has been in the process of teaching debt free. And it seems like we're going to have another two, right? Okay. Good. So I think that.
Do it today.
Well, we're going to break early. Amen. Anybody want to have anything for the good of the order they want to bring up? Okay, that's a good word. I mentioned to you that Brother Kofi has to leave tomorrow after we shut down. We shut down right about noon. We get it out right about that time. Is anybody else flying out tomorrow? What that means?
I think it's 12:30.
12:30? So you'll leave before that. So we will have a executive council meeting, which will be our closing session, where we have some business to take care of and talk a little bit about where we're trying to go to. I want you tonight, as we come back for service and hear Pastor Mistletoe preach, we want to come back expecting great things in the message, but also thinking great thoughts about how to develop the areas that we are going back to. That we're going back to. I think most of you hopefully read the note from Bishop Willie Brooks, who purchased his ticket as far as we know and prepared to come, and then something came up that prevented him from being here. So hopefully he's sitting in on the classroom and getting most of this. I think you also know that Bishop Jan J. Swin and her crew could not come from Liberia because the U.S. embassy would not give them visas. Bishop Raymond could not come from Sierra Leone because the U.S. embassy would not grant them visas. Bishop-elect Emmanuel could not come from Ghana because he didn't have the paperwork or some reason of the U.S. did not grant the visas. And some of the others that we don't really know that well, we tried to get here from some of the eastern countries that have given me the same story. And I am going to ask about this to our congressman, but if anybody has any insights at all on how to manage this visa thing, we're open to that. Just know that. If you know someone that knows someone, pass that information on. Because we need to do that. Our people were hard-working a second time in a row because they could not get here. And I just think something's wrong. I know the enemy is our enemy. I know that. And I know that he attempts to stymie and to stall every way he can. But we don't have to take it. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to take it. So that's what we stand. One closing item. We start tonight at 7. Will we be eating?
Yes, we are preparing the food now. Give us a few more minutes. We have placed there. You either take with you or eat here.
Okay. All right. So that's a good word. You can take it with you or you can eat it here. Let's go around the table. Anything for the good of the order? Good to see you, Bishop Deshaun. Welcome. Yes, you did. We're glad to see you. Amen. We're glad to see you brought your crew with you. Yeah. Traveling come here. Good to see you. Doctor?
I want to thank everybody for welcoming me and allowing me to participate. I've got to go back to see my cousin in Houston tonight, so I won't be here tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. Well, then I'll give you some results. We'll talk later.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk some more. But thank you. I really enjoyed and felt uplifted.
Amen.
God be the glory for the things He's done and doing here.
Great.
Thank you.
Dr. Allison.
Thank you. And blessings on all. It's been wonderful.
I would say I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be part of this wonderful family. Thank you so much.
We want to welcome you, Pastor Coffey. And you told me about his serious interest in being a vital part of what we do here. We're going to start working on that with you. And I think we have an app on the site, right, on our website. But we have some physical, don't we, Electus?
I can make them available.
Yes, give me something before it gets out and we leave tomorrow. Bishop Joseph?
I'm really grateful. And God is so grateful. And if I'm not here, that means that if I have known Africa, I have not been any African representative. And that's very positive. But thank God I'm here. I thank God I weather all the storms with the and I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Let me tell you just a quick story about Bishop Joseph. So we had a retreat in Bishop College. I think it was a conference in Baton Rouge. And the bishop says, I can't come, but I'm sending my wife.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, that was his wife.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yes, I thought that was kind of, you talk about commitment, I thought that was an interesting commitment. But for the two of you, I don't know that my wife would have participated with me on that deal, so, but we were glad to see her. Princess Spike, yes, bless her heart. You give her our best regard. But she came down, she represented you well today. Yes, amen. We're very pleased about that. That's it, you're going to be preaching tonight. Anything you need to tell us before you get up on the line?
Yeah. So I can say I hear a lot, I learn a lot, and I think, as we know, my country is dealing now with a difficult situation.
Is it a civil war? I mean, are they all taking arms? Is it clans are fighting against each other?
Yeah, exactly. So, you can imagine, my church can only get together on this Sunday. And as a pastor, I can't go. For 2 months, I go to other churches.
So, wait a minute. No one can come to church, your church, except on Sunday morning?
Exactly.
And why? What keeps them? What prevents them? What stops them from coming?
We have protests every day. And go out with guns.
You have the guns?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the situation. So, as you as a pastor, you have to ask questions. What to do?
Bishop Julian was shot.
Just got shot again.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, I mean, I just got a note from him. Well, I sent it around the week, yes.
Wow. So, during 2 months I pray, I say, God, okay, what is doing this situation? And when I received the email to come here, I said, okay, it seems that God is talking to me. And when I start to be part of the meeting, God talked to me a lot. So I read a lot. So I get new vision, I get new strategy, and not only for my ministry, for my church. I oversee 16 churches for the Baptist Convention in the area. So I have a lot to share with other pastors. So I'm blessed, I'm grateful. So it's a privilege for me to be here.
You have a school in your church?
Yeah.
Well, you know, we got to put you on program, because you got something that you can tell us.
Yeah.
And we're all looking for those types of freedom, even though I know they're shooting, as you mentioned. And we're going to be praying for that kind of thing. Amen.
Two members from Haiti just asked for prayer on Sunday. You said that there was a civil war going on, and so we are praying for you. Two members from there.
Wow. Any words?
Yeah, I thank God that I was able to make it, and today was awesome. The presentations were very encouraging for me, very interesting and encouraging, and glad that we could participate, that we have the freedom of liberty in this type of environment that we can participate. So I thank you for that.
Amen. Amen. Bishop Rosemary, any thoughts?
Glad to be here. Look forward to it every year. Learned a lot. Excited about where we are in our ministry. Just purchased our property. It's like we just started over. We've been running the ground since we got in there in June. And just enjoying doing the work with my pastor, husband, Bishop. I'm glad God called us to do this work together.
Amen.
Yeah. Just keep us in prayer.
Bishop, any words?
I love this woman.
All right.
That's how you prepare for the evening, right there. That's what I'm talking about. That's called investment. That's right. You look for a good ROI, that's, hey, thank you, Michelle. Bishop, any thoughts?
Just love being down here, always love being with you all as family.
Amen.
And it's always blessed.
Bishop Rich, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's awesome to have everyone here. Encouraged by everything, at the same time convicted by the idea that as much as we've done, there's a whole lot more we need to do and get done. So, but I'm encouraged by that fact, because God don't run out. So,
I did get a message from Archbishop Wilson. As you remember, he's a part of this fellowship, and he was prevented. You know, he's generally with us.
That's right.
So, but he also did not come from up in the Maryland area. I'm trying to get him actually to move south. I think all sane people. Are we still broadcasting?
no, yeah.
Forget the sane account. All sane people should be rejoicing. Okay. Yeah. We'll rejoice in the south. Praise Him. Well, in that case, let us stand, and we will stand down until 7 o'clock tonight. We will come, be prepared to be fed.